And we are live. Welcome to Tonight in America. I'm your host, Dontaris Jones, and we have an exciting show tonight for you. I want to welcome you back here to a Monday, technically a Tuesday, 2:07 a.m. Sorry for the delay of me going so late. I had a lot of other big streamers that were already live before I could even go live, and I had a bit technical issues, but I fixed the issue now. As you can see now, we're no longer going to be at 10. I had to lower the quality of the stream now going forth, so that way now I don't have any problems now when it comes to the streaming. So the stream should be good now. We should have no problems no more. Oh my gosh, this is so stressful, people. You have no idea. Anyways, so go ahead, fix my chair. So we're talking about the Super Bowl halftime show. Now, in case everyone was living underneath the rock, Bad Bunny had performed yesterday for the Super Bowl halftime show. Sorry, I thought I heard something. So he performed yesterday for the Super Bowl halftime show. And very, very talk of the town halftime show. It's got everyone talking. It's got everyone debating about this Super Bowl show, of course. I've been rage debating all day on Facebook about this halftime show. It's pretty much I pissed a lot of people off. And then I rage baiting the Puerto Ricans, of course, reminding them they have no sovereignty. They are citizens of the United States government. They're a territory of the United States. We acquired them through the Spanish-American War. So they have no sovereignty. And I don't understand where this whole Puerto Rican pride's coming from. It's just not a real thing. So Puerto Rican pride's not real. It's only American pride. Their flag is not even a real flag. It's a fake flag. It's a fake flag, my bad. So this whole fake Puerto Rican pride, it's not a real thing. So I want to remind these people of that, of course. We have to be realistic right now. There is no such thing as Puerto Rican pride or whatever. But let me give my honest assessment about the Super Bowl performances from both the regular Super Bowl performance that took place at the stadium, and then we also have the TP USA event took place somewhere else as more of a counter to the Super Bowl performance that was conducted by Bad Bunny. And the fact that this was the right wing's way of just pushing back on Bad Bunny's performance, and sitting here thinking that what's being pushed right now is just pretty much just slop by mainstream to sit there and push more woke ideology to the masses. So the title and the thumbnail is very clickbaitable. So very clickbaitable. I did that for a reason. But do I give my honest assessment about it? I've seen highlights of the performance, of course, and for the most part, I'm not really, how I'll put this, I don't really like it. I don't really have a problem with the Super Bowl performance as a whole. I don't hate Bad Bunny. I don't know not one song from Bad Bunny, of course. My perspective on the matter is when I look at the right wing's show, and then I look at, of course, the Bad Bunny show. I don't really care for neither. So I'm under the impression that I don't really care for neither. I would say both are good. I wouldn't say neither's good, and I wouldn't say neither's bad. That's my perspective about it. And when I look at Bad Bunny's performance, I would say it wasn't, personally speaking, it was whatever. It wasn't even super over the top woke per se. It wasn't. Now, of course, yes, there was a lot of degenerate stuff in the performance. There was people humping on each other. Two men were actually humping on each other. You could literally see throughout the video all these instances of two men humping each other, men grinding up against women, twerking, just degenerate crap pretty much you would see from the masses, of course. So I look at this as I don't necessarily I wouldn't say it's bad. Okay, look, I'll be fair. Okay, I wouldn't say Bad Bunny's show was bad. Of course, me personally speaking, I wouldn't say the TP at USA shows also was good either. You know, I'm not a big fan of country music. I'm not a big fan of country music. I'm not a big fan of that culture, that genre of music or whatever. Neither am I a big fan of Bad Bunny's music. I don't even fucking know a Bad Bunny song. So I don't know not one Bad Bunny song. So my thing about this as a whole is that this whole entire event was just like, it's just kind of like, I get it. We're supposed to be about including all the other we want to be more inclusive or whatever, instead of always fighting against the left, because we want to be able to win the culture war or whatever against the left. But at the same time, I mean, I feel like there is some bitterness about this, especially when it comes to like the Bad Bunny stuff, and I just feel like it is not needed, you know. And I feel like we could have get some better performers for the TP USA halftime show. I mean, no offense, but Kid Rock hasn't been relevant in years. You know, minus all my rage baiting on fucking Facebook that people clearly fall for, I don't really like care for neither one. I don't really care for the halftime show. I don't even like football, okay? The only reason why I'm covering this is because it's very trendy right now to be basically talk about this right now. And I'll give my opinion about what I've saw. So this stream's not going to be very long, of course. So you can sit through this one. It's not even I'm pretty sure I'm not even going to make an hour covering this stuff. So I have some reactions to react to. We have like Matt Walsh, Myron Gaines. We have Newsmax, of course. We reacted to their reaction about this, and we are also reacting to Michael Knowles' reactions about this halftime show. And then I really would give my full assessment about this at the end, because I just pretty much talked about a little bit about it, because like I feel like there's some bitterness on the right, of course, for so long of being kept down by the left when it comes to like mainstream media appeal. You know, because you look at all the halftime shows or whatever, I mean, it's more of like, you know, that Hollywood-esque anti-conservative conservative performances from a bunch of like celebrities who are not like religiously devout. They're nihilistic heathens who participate in a bunch of like satanic crap, in my opinion. But at the same time, I mean, they have some good music on that side, and they have better performers, regardless of like personal disagreements. I disagree with them about the politics, of course. But again, I digress. So we're going to get into some of the reactions right quick, and then we are going to talk about this more as the stream goes on. So this first one I have is from Newsmax.
I'm doing the Super Bowl halftime show, and I'm very...
So, like a... So, like the video. Shit's taking forever to load up, huh?
You might not know.
Internet is acting stupid right now. Like I said, the first one's gonna be about reaction from Newsmax. If this thing can ever come the fuck on. Let me see. I'll let it. What the hell's going on with my internet?
These, but I'm doing the Super Bowl halftime show, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy, and I think everyone is happy about it. I know that people all around the world who love my music are also happy, especialmente todos los latinos y las latinas en el mundo entero, y aquí en los Estados Unidos, todas las personas que han trabajado para abrir puertas. If you didn't understand what I just said, you have 4 months to learn.
And Bad Bunny was not kidding. The Puerto Rican singer performing his halftime show almost entirely in Spanish, making a bold statement to those who questioned whether he belonged on America's biggest stage. So much so that we needed articles like this one translating exactly what he said. Near the end of his performance, Bad Bunny speaking his first and only English words of the entire show. What was it? God bless America. And then he went on to rattle off a bunch of other nations. With us now is Ben Ferguson, host of the Ben Ferguson Show. Ben, good to see you. I'd love to know your thoughts. I'm sure you did the same thing that I did. You got on social media. You looked to see what other people may be saying about the show. What were your takeaways?
Yeah, look, I think number one, obviously, it was very clear the NFL decided that they wanted to teach a lesson to their fans, to their most loyal fans in the biggest game of the year, and they want to be an activist organization. Bad Bunny didn't get this invitation by accident. This is part of a theme of the NFL. The same reason why they decided to have 2 national anthems before the game, right? Why do they do that? Because they want to talk down to their American fans. They say, we're going to have an African-American national anthem. Then we'll give you the other one. Now, to be clear, I don't want there to be a white anthem, a black anthem, a Hispanic anthem. I just want there to be a national anthem. But the NFL, what they've decided is they are a propaganda machine. They feel like they're so big as an organization that when they're on the biggest stage, instead of thanking their fans for buying overpriced tickets and watching these games, they're going to then tell you why you suck, why you're a terrible person, why your heart is not pure. That is the NFL consistently over the last 20 years, whether it's kneeling for the national anthem and encouraging that on the sidelines, then adding the black national anthem, then all the Black Lives Matter stuff they put in the end zones, then on the back of their helmets as well. So this is not an accident. Now, what I'll say to Americans is this. I don't care about the NFL. I really don't anymore. I know they have disdain for me and my family. I know they want to overcharge me for an average product, and they're justice warriors where wherever the needle is going in the wind, they're going to follow it, and then they're going to tell you why your family's pretty much terrible.
Yeah, the president didn't like it as well.
I will say this is one thing to say before we continue on with the video, that majority of their audience is not like Hispanic watchers. And I mean, Hispanic people, for the most part in America or even in Puerto Rico, they don't watch football. Their version of football is soccer. What we think is soccer is their football. How they decipher between both footballs is they say this is American football and this is, football. They just call it football. So it is kind of weird, like how the NFL is trying to cater to a audience that doesn't really watch football, but I get it because it's a new strategy from their part that they want to draw in more people to the sport. They want to draw in more of a broader worldwide audience to watch football now. That's the reason why they had 2 Mexico football games this season. Before I came on the air, I was fact checking some of the stuff. I was watching Nick Fuentes' stream, and somebody super chatted that in and said that. So it's important to understand that this is exactly kind of why, the NFL strategy of bringing a worldwide appeal to the sport. Maybe in the future, maybe they might expand to a team in Mexico. Or maybe I doubt Puerto Rico, but maybe somewhere in Latin America, they probably are going to expand some cases. So this is a strategy provided from the NFL from a marketing standpoint, and maybe from a broader appeal standpoint of where I see this is really going. So that's just an opinion that I have. I mean, if you also think so, just let me know.
And talking about the halftime show, he shared this. He said the Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing is disgusting, especially for younger children. This show is just a slap in the face to our country. I found it interesting, too, because my drive to work, I see both sides. I see, okay, music's an art form, yada, yada. But you've got 13 minutes of a different language being sung. Yeah. And you almost start to feel guilty. I don't know if I should say that I didn't enjoy it because I didn't understand the lyrics. I didn't understand the message. But that's the other side of this.
Yeah, that's part of the shaming, though. I mean, we have the Olympics going on right now, and I'm watching the Olympics. I'm not watching the feed in Mexico or the feed in Italy or the feed in Russia or in Germany because I can't understand it. That doesn't make me a bad person. I'm from the United States of America, and NBC News broadcasts it in English, right? They're not broadcasting it in another language because that would be insanity. So for then me to have to sit there for 13 minutes and to listen to something that I don't understand, there's either they're incredibly stupid at the NFL, or it goes back to what I said at the very beginning. Roger Goodell has decided that the NFL is an activist organization masquerading as America's favorite sport, America's favorite pastime. And what he's going to do is get every opportunity he can to then tell you why America is bad. This is really about that. This is anti-American moments from the NFL where they're telling you that you're beneath us. You're not going to. By the way, I don't know if Roger Goodell is bilingual, but if you look at the videos that came out of the Super Bowl, it's pretty clear the majority of people in the audience had no idea what was being said. That's just bad programming, unless it's activism. If it's activism you're going for, you nailed it. If you wanted people to feel bad about themselves, you nailed it. If you wanted to divide the country instead of, quote, bring us together like it was on Bad Bunny's football, you nailed it. And let's also be clear about picking him. This is a guy that's been very clear about having anti-American positions on stage. He has a lot of anger towards his country and the way he feels like Puerto Rico is treated as a part of this country. And when you go out there and you say you have 4 months to learn my language before the Super Bowl, that tells you it's an agenda. It's an ideological agenda that you want to cram down our throats to the viewers. So I'm glad there was counter-programming last night. Ultimately, I think this makes the NFL that much more relevant to average Americans.
I know we're out of time, but I need to show this because Ben's hitting on a great point in terms of culture and maybe some things that the viewer missed. The New York Times actually put this out on the performance, and they wrote this because they did the best and worst of Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show. So I was surprised. That's why I clicked on it, because I was going to say, you said the worst? You wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Well, this is what they said. The Puerto Rican flag that Bad Bunny carried was subtly different from the current official one. It was the flag of the Puerto Rican independence movement. Like the current island flag, it was red, white, and blue with 1 star, red and white stripes. But the blue wasn't the navy blue of the American flag, this one. Yeah. Instead, it was a pale blue, azul claro in Spanish. So that's the one here. Again, so the flags that he could have even chosen, he chose the one sharing Puerto Rican independence from America.
Yeah, and that goes back to, you know who Bad Bunny is. It's not hard to figure this out. You can see what he said about America. He has genuine disdain for this country, and we gave him the biggest halftime moment, the biggest TV audience we possibly could. Why? Because I go back to the NFL.
Yeah, it's clear that Bad Bunny's personal politics, again, I don't agree with Bad Bunny at all. I don't personally like the guy. I mean, his politics is like any liberal politics, pretty much. He doesn't support the deportations. He doesn't have a likeness for, like, I guess, Republican people for the most part. Obviously speaking to me, like, he's like your generic liberal voter, if he even votes for that matter. I think because he's like a Dominican, he can't vote in America. So I mean, it is what it is on that part. But the point of the matter is that, like, the guy is obviously does not like America in any regards, because he feels like America, he probably feels like any other celebrity, like ISIS, the Gestapo, ISIS, the Nazis, ISIS, you know, whatchamacallit. I had another one in my head, but I forgot the name of them, but they are pretty much like a special unit police force that you see in like all these other like third world countries, where there's a authoritarian or a monarch like leader who has a special police force that specializes in brutalization. And that's how Bad Bunny probably envisions how ICE are. And look, it is what it is. I mean, like, people on that side all have this bad view of ICE, and this is why, like, majority of these liberals will sit there and try to impede and stop ICE from doing their jobs. They try to stop ICE from doing their jobs. They're trying to stop ICE from deporting these people, you know, all these illegal immigrants who've came into the country over the years. And it's funny, I was debating with a Canadian chick earlier in a debate. It was like pretty much like a political debate group. I got banned from the group, of course. So right now I'm kind of banned. I can't message in the group. But she was sitting here saying something about, like, because I was telling her how, like, fucked Canada is in like the next 5 years, because Canada right now is going to be destroyed by mass immigration, and she was fine with that. She was fine with the amount of immigrants coming into the country to pollute the country and pretty much just change what Canada is. There won't be no more Canada Pride, because Canada Pride is going to turn into Indian Pride. The amount of Indians that are like going into Canada right now is like, at that point, Canada's finna become New Delhi. It's being flooded with so many amounts of Indian immigrants. Like, Canada in the next like 5 years won't even be recognizable anymore. There won't be no more white Canadians no more. It won't be the Canada of old. It won't be Canada first. It won't be Canada. There won't be a nationalist Canada. It would be a different type of nationalism. It would be beholden to like the country of India. This is going to be India's safe haven, pretty much. The second India. That's what Canada's going to turn into. And then this white bitch, you know, who sits up here and acting like just being fine with her country just being polluted and just being destroyed, just goes to show you like how these people, these Canadians, feel about their own country. Like, they don't even care to ensure their own nationalism. They would rather their country be flooded with a bunch of immigrants because they just don't want to come off as being racist. They don't want to fight for their own. They don't want to fight for their homeland. They rather their homeland turn into like literally a dystopian land, a third world country, because they believe in the concept of a melting pot. You know, this how these Canadians are more fucked than whites in America. Canadians are like legit, like they're super progressive. They super believe in liberalism. They've been polluted with it so much that they are just like egalitarian. Just is like it literally just built into like their nature. You know, it's very hard to find like nationalist Canadians because a lot of them are just super far left. There's a reason why like Canada is being destroyed. You know, it's not just from their governments, from some of their people literally believe in this stuff. They believe in leftism. They believe in like everyone's equal. Everyone, we should welcome ourselves and allow people to come into our country because we're welcoming people. You know, in America, we could save this shit. We can salvage this stuff and save America and save, you know, white people in America. Canada's cooked. It's gone. It's given to the Indians, pretty much been served up as a silver platter because the government is just too scared to take a nationalist route and save its people from being destroyed, from being replaced. So, yeah, that's why I was getting into that debate earlier with this girl, and it's just like, bro, it's just like this is like the generic Canadian, just like, bro, I can see why Canada's cooked, bro. These people believe in like liberalism and believe that everyone's all equal, egalitarianism. You know, we all the same or whatever. There's no differences, and I believe that even, you know, I believe Canada's a melting pot. That is just like, that is insane to me to hear that. You know, to basically ensure that your own country is going to be screwed by mass immigration is like insane to me to hear. That's insane. By the way, I also have to announce I still am going to do the Epstein stuff. I'm going to do the Epstein stream tomorrow. I'm still having to do research. I'm sorry I got backed up. I've been going at it with everyone all day on Facebook and groups about this Bad Bunny stuff all day. It's just so, it's petty for me because I like to pettily debate these people, even though these people don't really have actual stances on anything and they contradict themselves a lot. It's still fun. So I'm gonna finish up my research tonight, and I'm gonna cover the Epstein stuff tomorrow because we have new information that just came out today that I'm gonna talk about all of that and some more tomorrow.
The NFL is an activist organization masquerading as football. It is not football as an organization. It is about activism. They are as woke as any other company in this country, except they're willing to actually go out there and do it in your face. And I go back to just a product here. Yep. It is truly shocking to witness a company give the middle finger to their audience at the end of a great year. That is what they did. And I, again, if you like the NFL, this is what you're supporting. I don't care about the NFL anymore. I've moved on from them. I know they don't like my family values. I know they don't like this country. I know they want to divide this country. Proof of it is just having the halftime show and 2 different national anthems. Yeah. That is wokeness 101. You want to destroy a country? You take away its pride, right? That's how you do it. We've seen this around the world from dictators and tyrants. And you change it. You make people hate their country, and then you have a rising up. The NFL is leading on the rising up right now, and they did it in prime time last night. And if you can't see that, I can't help you. Yeah, it's supposed to be a unifying moment, and if anything, it was divisive as heck. The opposite effect. Ben Ferguson, thank you so much. Always great to hear your take. Thank you. Good to see you. You too.
All right, so that's that right there. Let's get into Matt Walsh's take about this
halftime show. And when you're talking about a sport where the fan base is roughly 70% white, there's only one way to understand that decision. There's a deliberate effort by the NFL and Jay-Z, whose company Rock Nation has run the halftime shows since 2019, to exclude white people.
So we're going to get into the good old Matt Walsh's take about this right now. Get into, like I said, we got to
white people from participating in the single most watched musical performance of the year. Now, in previous decade.
So we pretty much got like a bunch of people's takes. We got pretty much a lot of people takes on the right now. Before I give my take, I can't show the halftime performance on fucking YouTube because I'm going to get hit with a copyright strike. So that's why I haven't played the video myself. So I'm trying to avoid getting copyright. So excuse me right now if I'm sorry that I can't play it, unfortunately, Because if I do, I mean, I don't want my stream to get hit with a copyright strike. So bear with me.
You'd have Prince perform one year and then Tom Petty the next. You'd have Aerosmith and The Who.
Oops.
And then you have the Black Eyed Peas. But starting precisely the same year that Jay-Z took over the halftime show in 2019, whites have been banned from headlining. And they've been replaced in many cases by non-white rappers who can barely speak English. Of course, they sexualize the whole thing. And in general, they reduce what used to be a significant American cultural event to a trashy, unwatchable display. And in fact, since 2019, over 7 years, there's only been one white headliner in that time, and that was Eminem, who performed alongside Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Kendrick Lamar and a bunch of other black artists. Aside from that, there have been 0 white headliners at the Super Bowl since 2019. Now, in some of these performances, they're fairly explicit about their goal. And we're not talking about subtle messaging. In fact, with each passing year, the subtlety has increasingly gone out the window. They did the Hamilton thing last year when they trotted out Samuel L. Jackson to play Uncle Sam, and they beat you over the head with that message that, of course, white Americans are keeping blacks down and all that kind of stuff. Every few minutes, Samuel L. Jackson would just appear on screen to really subvert your expectations. But even with this recent history in mind, no NFL Super Bowl halftime show to this point has been anywhere near as overt or as disgraceful as the gigantic middle finger to all Americans that aired last night. The NFL chose to conduct the halftime show for the biggest game of the year in a language that almost none of their lifelong fans can understand, while waving the flags of countries that none of them are from or have been to. It was, without exaggeration, the biggest FU that I've ever seen a corporation give to its own consumers. It was pretty amazing in that sense. Watch.
Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Bolivia.
I don't know if I can play this, actually. I mean, I guess because I'm reacting to it and Matt Walsh is reacting to it, I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be fine.
Ecuador, Brasil, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Panamá, Costa Rica, Nicaragua.
Now, notice they don't even provide subtitles, just to really make the experience as uncomfortable and unintelligible as possible for 99% of their audience. Although, in fairness to them, if they did give us the lyrics, we would see how retarded the lyrics are, so they didn't exactly want to put that front and center. So while you're watching a production that's all about glorifying third world aesthetics, complete with 2 men grinding on each other next to a pickup truck at one point, you also have no idea what anyone's even saying. So that was the idea. Again, in addition to being disgusting, it is a massive middle finger to the NFL's actual audience. But in the particular clip we just played, even without subtitles, the meaning is pretty clear. Bad Bunny is paying homage to several South and Central American countries and all of their many citizens who have illegally entered the United States, which raises the question, how often does this kind of thing happen in reverse? Like, if you had to guess, how many soccer matches in these countries, El Salvador, Venezuela, Peru, and so on, have featured extended English language tributes to the United States during their halftime shows? How often do South Americans devote airtime during their biggest sporting events to thanking the United States for providing somewhere for them to flee to? How often do they insult their own people by bombarding them with unintelligible propaganda on behalf of foreign invaders? Now, the answer is that it never happens, ever. This is the kind of thing you only see here in this country. Nor should it happen. No self-respecting country subjects its own people to these humiliation rituals, which is what that halftime show was. People who have self-respect take pride in their own nation and their own flag, especially at their most iconic cultural event, which is what the Super Bowl is. Meanwhile, people who are conquered take pride in other nations and other flags. And speaking of flags, in case you missed it, in the back there was a banner that read as follows: "The only thing more powerful than hate is love." Now, the implication, of course, is that if you don't want the Super Bowl halftime show to be conducted in a foreign language, and if you don't want to watch gay men grinding on each other when you're trying to see a football game with your family, then you're a hateful person. You're part of the problem. The people telling you this, the people who put that banner up and who organized this halftime show in the first place, have no shame whatsoever. I mean, they've been on a mission to exclude whites from the halftime show for 7 years. They've supported a political party that exists at this point to replace whites at a demographic level. And now they're literally spiking the football to celebrate what they've accomplished. But in the same breath, while they're doing all this and being as explicit about it as they possibly can, they tell you that you're the hateful one. If you object, if you even fail to stand and applaud your own replacement, to applaud as your cultural events, your iconic cultural events, are taken over and subverted and used to celebrate cultures that, by the way, have nothing to do with football whatsoever. That's the other thing. Latin Americans have nothing to do with the NFL. Historically, they've contributed nothing to the NFL. And even today, there's a record number of Hispanics in the NFL. You know how many that is? 32 on active rosters in the past year in 2025. That's an average of 1 per team. And yet we're going to take the biggest football game of the year, devote the entire halftime show to celebrating this culture. Why? I mean, why not have a halftime show devoted to 20 minutes to celebrating, Vietnam or Norway or just any other random country that has nothing to do with football at all? But you see, only Peruvians and Mexicans and Venezuelans are allowed to have national pride. If you have any national pride, then you're a horrible person. Now, to be clear, no one in the NFL's audience actually appreciates this messaging or buys into it or enjoys it. Certainly no one thinks that Bad Bunny actually produces real music. And to illustrate that point, here's footage from inside the stadium during this halftime show. Look how enthralled these people are. Watch. It's completely dead. I mean, aside, there's a couple people dancing. Other than them, like if you just saw that without any context, you would think they were attending some sort of candlelight vigil. You would think this was a memorial service or a funeral. People just standing there somberly, quietly, confused by the whole spectacle, and certainly not enjoying it. Because despite all the money and hype and heavy-handed messaging, there's no crowd reaction whatsoever. A juggling act would have been better, a lot better. And again, more enjoyable, because the other thing about this music, let's just be clear about it, is that it sucks. The music itself, just at an artistic level, is bad. Like a Latin American, Hispanic pop music is awful. It all sounds exactly the same. If you actually listen, if you were to get a translation of the lyrics, it's even worse slop than what you would get from, an American pop star. And that's not great either. But they're just like saying nothing. It's just, even if they were doing this in English, it would still be gibberish. Because they're saying nothing. It's the same beat. It's the same sound over and over and over again. There's no variety. There's no artistry. There's no substance. There's no meaning at all. It's just bad music. Like, it's bad. And that's one way. Every person you see today, I'm enjoying all these like middle-aged white people on social media, especially like media people, who feel like they have to pretend that they enjoyed the performance. Gee whiz, I really enjoyed that. Oh, really? Did you? Yeah, really? You're going to go download some Bad Bunny on your Spotify? Are you really? You enjoyed it, huh? You thought it was a good performance? No, you didn't.
You see, he's got a point. I mean, I don't think I'm going to go around and I don't hear nobody in my friend group or anyone that I know personally speaking is going to go around and like download a Bad Bunny's playlist. Like, I don't know anyone that, whether it's a Bad Bunny, that's probably not Spanish. He's got a broader point that Americans that aren't like big fans of like that type of genre, that Latin Kings genre of music, no one's gonna go download no Bad Bunny. I'm definitely not gonna go download no Bad Bunny. I don't even fucking know what song he even loves, because he says majority of his songs are not even in English. So what's the point of even going download a song from Bad Bunny if you can't even understand the lyrics? And this comes from me because I'm already like kind of like, I'm really off of rap too. It's like I hate rap too, because all it's just is just some garbage right now. Guys that I could barely understand and can barely make out what the fuck they're saying, because they talking ebonics, of course, and you just don't understand exactly what these ignoramuses are even saying, because like, they're rapping about this, they're rapping about murder, drugs, alcohol, beating their women. It's just like degenerate hedonistic shit. It's garbage music, bro, at this point. I mean, who listens to that crap? It's the same thing could be applied to that, could be applied to the Latin King stuff. I don't want to listen to this crap either, quite frankly. I don't even understand what they're saying. Objectively speaking, it could be good music. Who knows? It could probably be good music, but I'm not listening to no Latin Kings music or whatever. But at the same time, I mean, I've never even thought about listening to Bad Bunny a day in my life, nor do I even want to, quite frankly. I heard the music, I heard his before, I saw his performance or whatever, and I'm just like, I'm not a big fan. Me personally speaking, I don't want to sit there and listen to no Bad Bunny all day. I'm good. So he's got a point that, yeah. And then Bad Bunny's messages about him not being non-American, I mean, like, that's already on a personal level. I don't like Bad Bunny because of his politics. So.
No, you did not. But you think you have to pretend you did, because otherwise you're racist. Now, it's not hard to see how we ended up here, being force-fed slop from the third world at the single most watched sporting event of the year. After watching the halftime show, here was the reaction from John Kasich, who's the former governor of Ohio. He's also a Republican, allegedly. Quote, "Love the halftime show, which celebrates the wonderful Latino culture. Great pick and great show. Bad Bunny hit a grand slam home run." That's a good sports analogy for the Super Bowl. But this guy doesn't even know what. You could not write a more out-of-touch tweet if you wanted to. I was really enjoying the Super Bowl. They hit a grand slam home run. They got they got the 3-pointer. That was a nothing but net from the 3-point line with that halftime show. That's the mainstream view of the establishment wing of the Republican Party, and it was our only option before Donald Trump. Just these totally spineless, gutless leaders who are deathly afraid of being called racist. You could put Latinx hookers up on the screen along with a guy who can't sing or speak English, and a set that comes complete with a replica of a bodega and an EBT accepted here sign on the 50-yard line. Let's, not making that up. They actually had that sign as part of the halftime show. because they had to include as part of this is a tribute to Latin American culture, and so that has to include EBT. Like even in their tribute to their own culture, they're admitting that, oh yeah, you know, like 90% of us are on welfare. Welfare is part of our culture, and the Republican elites just lap it up, or pretend to anyway. You know, it's like that image of Jacob Fry pretending to like the garbage Somali food as he nearly chokes to death on it. It's like that. John Kasich is a big part of the
Bro, they're always going to be on Jacob Fry's ass right now about that Somali food. That was a crazy image or whatever, bro, of him eating that Somali food. Bro looked like he's about to puke that shit up, honestly speaking, bro. That was crazy. They're not letting him slack because of that either. You know, they're on his ass about that.
reason why Ohio is currently overrun with migrants from Haiti and Somalia. He thinks their culture is wonderful. He thinks it's great when foreigners flood into small towns like Springfield that can't remotely sustain them. He's happy when they take American jobs and homes. Diversity is our strength, these Republicans will repeat until eventually no one can understand them anymore because no one speaks English. Now, this wing of the Republican Party can never be allowed to hold power again. And that's because, as the NFL halftime show demonstrated, the left is now done pretending that the Great Replacement is a conspiracy theory. They don't think they have to pretend anymore. They believe truly that they've imported enough foreigners already in order to seize control of the United States from Americans. They're under the impression that permanent political control is theirs for the taking. That's the only reason why they put on a halftime show that completely ignores actual Americans, makes no effort to speak to them or even be intelligible to them. And it's also why a top Texas lawmaker, the leader of the Democrat caucus in the state, in fact, recently said the quiet part out loud. Really?
All right, so we're going to move on now from Matt Walsh. Now we're going to get Myron Gaines and his brother's reactions to the Super Bowl halftime show, which I look forward to listening to.
Performed before Bruno Mars, artists, Hispanic artists. It's that he's not speaking English. Yeah. So like no one can understand what he's saying. No one can enjoy the music.
To me, this looks like a takeover.
So we're gonna get the three right wingers that I pretty much watch for the most part view about it. Nick
a lot of Americans feel like they lost their country. Could you imagine? Like, let's reverse.
I might do 2 streams tomorrow. See, because I'm trying to think of how I'm going to do the Epstein stream. I might do the Epstein stream during the day, and then I might do a chill stream later on and watch Nick's reaction to like the Super Bowl halftime show, because he gave like more of it wasn't bad, you know. And then he also kind of like said the same thing with me, because I didn't like the TPUSA halftime show performance at all, because I'm not a big fan of country music, and they could have chose better artists for that. So, and he kind of also gave the same opinion, you know, about this too as well. And he said that he didn't really have a problem with like Bad Bunny's performance or whatever. You know, he kind of likes the music or whatever, and that's respectable to him. Respect to him, of course. But anyways, let's get Myron Gaines and his brother's reaction to Bad Bunny's performance.
Let's say a bunch of us will start going to Mexico. As you guys are about to get ready to do your baseball game or some shit like that. We just play some Elvis Presley. No more reggaeton, bro. We invading your clubs. We're playing Elvis. We're playing Michael Jackson only English music. You would lose your minds, bro. You guys will lose your minds if your culture started disappearing in front of your eyes. So I don't get mad when I see white people getting mad because they're like, yo, I grew up, this used to be a white country. Now I'm looking around, the Super Bowl used to have American artists. Now we got Hispanic artists. And then people don't even speak the language no more. What the fuck is going on? And this is the last thing we have left. I did not see it at all, bro. So you play it from wherever you think is the most relevant since you actually watched that.
Yeah, I watched it. I mean, we can kind of watch from 13 minutes here.
13 minutes? All right, yeah, we can skim through it if it starts getting...
I'll play the beginning. I'm going to just go use the bathroom really quick because I watched it already, and then when I come back, we can scrub through maybe.
All right. Oh, you hit play on it? Yo, Fuzz. Yo. All right. I'm about to say some racist right now, bro.
Sorry, don't get me nuked. Go ahead.
No, I'm not gonna get you nuked, but like, bro, man.
Wait, what part did I miss?
Like it was him like walking through with the whole. See, here's the thing, bro. So like me and you gotta. Okay. All right.
Wait, no, go ahead.
All right. Hold on. Like me and you, right? We're from Connecticut, right? We grew up in New Britain. Well, me more than you. I'm like completely desensitized to Hispanics. Is that, do you know what I'm saying? Like I've been around them my whole life. I've been around every class of them. I've been around. Like I don't think there's been anybody else that spent more time around Hispanics than me, bro. Like Connecticut, straight Puerto Ricans. New Britain, Connecticut. Like what is it? Central
Connecticut, like Harford County,
Central Connecticut. Yeah.
Bristol, Windsor. There's a lot.
All Puerto Ricans, right? I grew up with all Puerto Ricans.
Yeah, where I'm at too is where we have a lot of fucking Spaniards out here, bro. Like, bro, there's a lot of them here. I think, bro, the Walmart I go to at a certain point is just nothing but Spanish people. Like, they all don't even speak English that good either. Like, imagine this at my job one day. I had people coming in looking for shoes or whatever. And the odd part about this, like, the couple that I was talking to, neither one speaks English. There's been like a couple of like customers that I had that are like, you know, Spaniards that have come into the store. They don't speak English. And I've said this before and I'll say this again. How are we allowing these people to come into the country and they don't speak English? I don't understand like the vetting process of how this is supposed to be done. Bad enough they come in here, they commit crime, they grape the women here, they kill them, but we're letting them in when they don't even learn the language too. And then all these liberals will sit up here and say, well, we need to learn Spanish too and whatever. America doesn't have a definitive language. If you look at the stats right now of between who speaks what language the most, it's not Spanish, it's English. The majority language is English. You need the federal government to tell you that the majority language is English. I get it. You want them to define what the official language of America is, because like America never had a defining language. America was founded by white Protestant Christians from Europe. It wasn't founded by no Spanish people from that didn't even exist at the time. They didn't come from any Spanish country or whatever and spoke Spanish. They came from Europe. They were Protestant Christians who founded this country, who spoke English. The country was founded by Englishmen. If you need the federal government to tell you what America's defining language is, the founders literally were English. You don't have to have the federal government to define what the official language of America is. The official language is English. Like when these liberals piss me off when they keep using that talking point that America doesn't have a definitive language and Spanish is part of American culture. Spanish didn't come to like what 1492 to America to Christopher Columbus. They weren't even in America at the outset of the country. The country was already established when the Spanish came here. Like these liberals are so dumb when they use this rhetoric of not understanding actual history, and then they use a different they use history and then decode it into their own interpretation of it, and then they push out propaganda. It's insane to me, bro. Like the vetting process needs to be a lot better when it comes to vetting these immigrants to let them into the country. I get it, Puerto Rico's a territory of America, and that they're already technically American citizens just by being Puerto Ricans because they're a territory of America. But the point of the matter is they need to be, in order to also be a territory of the United States, you should be required to learn English and speak it properly, not broken English. So this is the reason why I have a problem with like letting all these immigrants come into the country or whatever, and they don't speak English. And it's like, yeah, not every one of us wants to learn all these different languages or whatever, especially if we're not going to go to, for me personally speaking, you should learn a different language. It's for like educational purposes and like for if you're wanting to like expand your knowledge, it is best to learn a different language, of course. Why I'm shit talking about like the vetting process when it comes to these immigrants. But the most part is these immigrants come to the country, they don't learn English. That's the problem that I have. They don't learn English. Like they should not come into the country where majority of the people don't speak their language and just forcefully not willing to learn English. That's my problem with that. So
in my school was a majority Puerto Ricans, right?
Yeah.
Then I went to college, was around white people. Once I got out of college, where'd I go? Texas, Mexico, right? Now I'm in Miami, Caribbeans, Cubans, Colombians, etc. So I've been around Dominicans as well in the Northeast when I was in Boston. That's what I dealt with the most when I was in Boston was Dominicans, right? Dominicans and Puerto Ricans. So like I am like extremely aware and familiar with Latin culture, right? Like very. Now for me, I'm looking at this like, all right, whatever, right? Like I hear this music all the time. I live in Miami, etc. But bro, pause this real quick. Like, let me go full screen with just me and you. Like I could picture some in like Ohio or Tennessee or like Montana. Like what the fuck is this? You know, like
that's what I was saying earlier.
What the is this? What the fuck is this? Get these off my screen. You know, like yo, I could already imagine that because like the thing with Hispanics is like these are like concentrated in certain parts of the country, right? Yeah. Or in the cities and like on the coast, right? California, like New York, Miami, etc. Once you get into like the Midwest or you get into like, you know, more rural America, like they're watching this like, what the fuck is this, bro? Like I could imagine the culture shock for like middle America, like what the fuck is this? Like me and you, because you gotta remember, bro, we're on Puerto Rican all day. Yeah, right? We get it. We know who Bad Bunny is. We know it's Puerto Rican.
Symbolism inside the show, like all the things that they're doing. We understand those. We understand the culture of it because we've grown up around it.
Yeah, but like for a lot of Americans, bro, a lot of Americans don't grow up around Puerto Rican. right? Like we're
living in a city. This is going to confuse the shit out of you.
Yo, if you don't, I don't even say major city. Like if you're not around Puerto Ricans, this is going to confuse you.
Yeah.
Because reggaeton is a very specific type of music, right?
Probably like New York City, Chicago. Do they have a presence in Chicago?
Not like Mexicans. It's mostly Mexicans there.
Texas as well. Yeah. I mean, there's just like you said, kind of the Midwest and rural.
Yeah, like this is gonna like in the Super Bowl, this look, I'll keep it all the way 1,000 with you. If I'm a conservative white man in America, I'm off watching this. I'm gonna say it just like that.
Yeah.
I'm watching this, bro. If I am a white man living in America, right, paying my taxes, doing what I need to do, etc., right, and mind you, I've been here like listen, and the older you are, the more mad you're gonna be. FYI, right? It's one thing if you were born in the 90s. I was born in the 90s. I'm not even white. I'm watching this like, oh wow, this is not gonna be good, right? And I'm around Puerto Ricans all the time. I understand their culture, whatever, but I'm able to empathize, right? I know that half of America's watching this shit like, what the fuck is this, bro?
Yeah.
Like I already know half of America off rip, like, what is this?
People always hear that and they go, well, you're racist, well, you're a hater, well, you're a boomer, well, you're a. It's not that. I'll tell you what the grievance is. It has nothing to do with him being Puerto Rican. Kendrick Lamar has performed before. Bruno Mars, artist, Hispanic artist. It's that he's not speaking English.
Yeah.
So like no one can understand what he's saying. No one can enjoy the music.
And not only that, you know why also they're mad? They're mad also because it's like, okay, I'm already mad that every time I order Uber, I don't speak English. I'm already mad that when I call the hotline, I got Patel. Thank you. Come again. Barely speaking English when I call MX. I'm already mad when I call the hotline.
Bro, don't you guys ever get these phone calls from like these toll-free numbers, and the first time you answer the phone, it's an Indian woman or a man answer the phone? Or do all of them work in telemarketing? Can someone answer me in the chat? I swear, I'm not even joking when I say this. I feel like every time I answer the phone, every one of them are like literally working in telemarketing. I cannot answer a phone when it's not an Indian person on the other line. That's funny as shit, bro. I cannot answer a telemarketing phone call and it's not an Indian person on the other end of the line. I can't tell if I'm being scammed or I'm legit being sold something like actually like legit. And they just not trying to take my money from me. Bro, I'm telling you, it's crazy to me like how so many telemarketing companies have Indians employed by them now. It's insane.
They're saying 1 for English, 2 for Spanish. You're like, what the f? And as like a white dude, right? You're like, yo, what? Like, are we the minority now? Like, what's going on? Now, the other thing also, right, that is like very apparent with this is like, to me, this looks like a takeover. Like, this looks like, okay, like we are no longer like, this is the takeover. Like Latinos are here. Cause you gotta remember with the Latinos, okay, me and you, Riyadh, we know this because we're not, right? We know the difference between Mexicans. We know the difference between Cubans. We know the difference between Venezuelans, whatever. Bro, the rest of these is like, are you Mexican or not? Like, you know, it's just Mexican or not, right?
Mexican off my screen.
Yeah.
I didn't turn on America's sport for this.
Yeah, bro. Like, this don't know the difference between Puerto Ricans and yo, half these don't even know Puerto Ricans are American citizens, right? So
where the fuck is Puerto Rico? Where the fuck is one tarnation is this? What flag is that? Why does it look like the American flag?
One star.
What the hell is this Mexican? What is this Mexican doing? Charlie, turn off the TV before I smack you. What the fuck is this? Definitely what all of Midwestern and rural America was doing watching this.
Are tight. Who know these were punched in the air? Like, what the f is this, right? Like, 100%. so like, I can see the grievance because it's like, okay, this is the last thing we have left. Like, this already took the phone lines, press 2 for Spanish, already took our jobs. It's already like are starting to overtake us in major cities, right? Like, there's certain places in America that you go to, like, they don't even speak English, bro. In Miami, if you got an Uber, you are speaking Spanish, no English, right?
Well, Miami, no one speaks English.
No one speaks English. You're in South Texas, no one speaks English, right? You in San Antonio, no one speaking English. So it's already bad enough that like they walk around and the neighborhoods don't look like they used to. It's already bad enough people don't speak the language. Now, the last thing you have, American football, the biggest event, some with some perfect eyebrows is walking around, you know, doom, 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 doom. You're like, what the fuck is this? Because yo, this is a culture shock. He doesn't know he's Puerto Rican. He don't know what the fuck reggaeton is. Bad Bunny, what the fuck is this? Like, niggas like, wait, what the fuck? And
not even the hillbillies too, just normal working class American.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, yo, what is this?
Right,
yo, and real talk, I don't blame them. I'm looking at this like, wow, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at this, and this is someone who understands Puerto Ricans, understands reggaeton, understands the culture differences, understands Latin America, you know, understands Spanish to a degree. Like, I understand these, and I'm even like, oh, this is uncomfortable. For the Super Bowl, like, you guys already have a market. You guys already control everything else. Like, the Super Bowl, bro, like, this is the last thing you have left. Like,
Hispanics do have a good deal of representation in the United States, and everything is accessible for them. So this is why.
Yo, they got I'll take it a step. They got too much representation. Can I said it?
No, for sure.
They got too much representation.
It's lopsided. And what I'll say is, again, the guy does not have one English song. And before all of the naysayers, because I know what the opposition is going to say, oh, he's the biggest artist. English speakers listen to him. He's very popular. He does great numbers. That's fine. Football is an American sport, and football is also a sport that's never been associated with any other language. It's only American. It's not like basketball. It's not like soccer.
Yo, American football, bro. Call it American football everywhere they go, bro. Like,
so with this guy to perform at the Super Bowl and only do it in Spanish, of course it's going to upset people. Now, me personally, I could.
Yeah, that's the problem with that. It's like I said before, like the audience is not majority Spanish. They're like regular normie white men, including blacks as well, who watch football and don't speak Spanish at all. You know, and this is kind of the problem. Like the NFL is shooting themselves in the foot by trying to do this event and then allow this event to go on, and then you don't have no English headliner. Now, of course, he brought Madonna with, I think we know not Madonna, Lady Gaga, to perform. She wasn't listed at all because she's like a surprise sub-headliner with him. But the problem of the matter is, like, when you're advertising an event for a guy who's not known to have an English song, it's going to turn off a lot of your viewers, whatever. So I did the math. It's like majority of the viewers that turned off from the NFL and watched the TPUSA halftime show were, if I got the numbers right, it was the halftime show numbers during the Bad Bunny's halftime show were far bigger and exceeded the Bad Bunny halftime show because of how many people tuned off and went to go watch the TPUSA event across from many different platforms for many different channels. So it's kind of like, it's very telling whenever like your targeted audience, which you're trying to focus on and try to, keep intact, when you're trying to forcefully force something else on them that they're not accustomed to, it's going to turn them off immediately. So this is probably a lesson learned from the NFL coming next year, that maybe you might want to think about a different marketing strategy, because it's the same thing kind of like what Bud Light did with that. I forgot this Transformer dude. I forgot this dude's name or whatever. I'm not a big familiar with the LGBTQ whatever the fuck community, the rainbow flag color community. I'm not really big into that community, but Bud Light did a sponsor with a guy that was a Transformer, and it got a lot of their buyers who are American white men to turn away from wanting to buy their beer because they did a marketing strategy that just backfired on them completely. So yeah, that was kind of like on Bud Light's part, and this is kind of like the same thing happening with the NFL. They did a marketing strategy just not like beneficial to them at all.
Care less, because I just don't watch football at all. I don't give a fuck about a halftime show. I'm always the guy in some sort of public setting where everybody's like, "Did you see this? Did you see that?" I'm like, "No, I didn't see any of that." So I could care less. But
now you got to start watching.
I can 100% understand the grievance of somebody who doesn't speak any Spanish watching this, because there's still a minority of people in the United States who speak Spanish. Most people still do speak English, so this is a legitimate thing for people to be upset about. Now, in terms of the performance, I think that every Super Bowl performance is good because they always have choreographers and stuff like that. And I know they put a lot of effort into it. They put a lot of effort into it. I thought it came out well, but I understand the grievance for most Americans. Here's the other thing too, Real. Let me tell you this.
So me and you both we both are aware of land culture. We grew up around Puerto Rico, so we know Bad Bunny even more, right? Because like we grew up around guys. Like when I say that, me and my brother grew up around Puerto Ricans. We grew up around Puerto Ricans, bro.
Puerto Ricans very well.
Like that. How do you guys think I'm able to make all these jokes and these got so mad at me? Why did the Puerto Ricans got so mad at me? Because I was honest when I was making funny for 2002 Hondas and loud reggaeton thing, and like their eyebrows be perfect. Like I know these like the back of my hand, bro. I be around them all the time. One of my best friends to this day is a Puerto Rican guy. Okay, last name is Santana. Like it doesn't get more Puerto Rican than that, right? So he drinks coquito and all that. So I know Puerto Ricans very well. Even me, who has a cultural awareness, I'm looking at this like, yo, this is uncomfortable. Now here's the other thing too. Now here's the ugly part. A lot of Americans feel like they lost their country. They're already mad that you got to hit 2 for English and all this other. Now imagine somebody, and here's the thing. The older they are, the more mad they're going to be. Imagine, bro, you grew up, your entire neighborhood was white, right? Fast forward. And the last thing you got left, the Super Bowl, some Spanish, rapping in Spanish.
Yeah.
I be too, bro.
What the fuck is this on the TV?
Like,
if you don't turn this shit off, I'll smack the shit out of you.
Nah, yeah,
bro, I'd be tight too. Like, yo, like, could you imagine, like, for all the people out there, oh, Myron, you sound racist, you sound whitewash, whatever. Okay, let's reverse it. Let's say a bunch of us will start going to Mexico, okay? So, or your country, Puerto Rico, whatever. All right, and as y'all are doing, as you guys are about to get ready to do your baseball game or some shit like that, we just play some Elvis Presley. No more reggaeton, bro. We invading your clubs. We're playing Elvis. We're playing Michael Jackson only English music. You lose your minds, bro. You guys will lose your minds if your culture started disappearing in front of your eyes. So I don't get mad when I see white people getting mad because they're like, yo, I grew up, this used to be a white country. Now I'm looking around, the Super Bowl used to have American artists. Now we got Hispanic artists. And then people don't even speak the language no more. What the fuck is going on? And this is the last thing we had left.
Exactly. Not even that they're Hispanic. That's what people are missing. It's that the guy is speaking only Spanish.
Yes.
That's the problem. That's precisely the issue.
And it's like, you guys got to remember too, like this whole immigration thing, right? Like a lot of people, there's a reason why Trump won on immigration, bro. Like a lot of people don't like mass immigration. Obviously they can't talk about it, but I don't blame white people for being tough and looking around and be like, yo, we used to be the majority, now we're the minority.
Yeah.
And let's be super honest and clear about this, okay? Because I already know some you're going to say here. Oh, you sound like a cool. Okay, you got some money? Where you moving? You're moving into a neighborhood that's going to be higher socioeconomic status, etc. What is that going to be mostly? It's going to be white people, right? Shut the up, right? Shut the up. Like, so these people that always want to sit there and be like, oh, you have a white. As soon as you get some money, where do you go? You go to a safer neighborhood. What's going to be dominated by? White people, bro. And the other thing too, you guys got to remember, white people, right? All the white countries are being taken over by immigration, okay? By people that don't come from that country. If we're Sudanese, right? And a bunch of white are moving in and trying to change the culture or whatever, and we live in Sudan, we'd probably get pissed off. As with any other country, they want to preserve their identity. The American identity, I hate to say it, guys, it was founded by white Christian guys. No one likes to hear that. Everyone gets mad when I say that. Oh, you're blah, 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 all this other we got to deal with the truth.
And that's so true. And there's a nuance that people don't understand as well. No, you're completely right in saying that. But that doesn't mean that the American identity only means white and Christian. That's not what it means. But what it's saying is that's what it is for a majority. And so what we see right now in the United States is somebody bring the Super Bowl in only Spanish, every single sign having Spanish abbreviation or Spanish translation below it. Sorry. And so it kind of feels like not only is it not a white majority country, it's this complete melting pot. And that's not what America originated as. And that's why people who are native to this country, people who are white or European, who have generations here, do have valid grievances and feeling like their land is being taken from them. So that's why I always understand that perspective. The American identity is majority white with a little bit of immigration trickled down in the middle. But that doesn't mean that the immigrants take over and amass big cultural iconic moments like the Super Bowl and so on. So I think that's really why there's this like huge outrage. It's not only because the guy's Hispanic, it has nothing to do with that. The guy has not done one song in English the entire show. He didn't speak a lick of English. He can't speak a lick of English. So, and I know he's a huge artist and he has tons of influence, but for America's biggest halftime show in America's biggest sport, it's probably not the best idea. This is a testament though to the fact that the NFL cares more about the financial gain and not supersedes the cultural or ethical or traditional aspect of everything. They could care less about how it really looks in terms of America's sport. They just want to make the money, and they knew that this guy was going to generate the most revenue because every Hispanic in the world was really watching this.
This was a money move. This was a good point. This was a money move at the cost of a cultural L.
Yeah.
Cultural L, financial. Look. I mean, do we need to say who owns the NFL? do we need to say who are the appropriators of cultural melting pots?
Yeah. Yep.
I hate to always bring it there, but like let's be honest here, bro. Robert Kraft. Come on, man. You know, it's like, look, put it this way. I am empathetic. When I see white people marching in Australia, when I see them marching in England, when I see them marching in America, and they're saying, yo, we are being genocided. We are being penalized in our own countries. We are losing our culture. We are losing our people. I'm not mad at them because at the end of the day, did find this country. Like they did found these Western countries that we live in, that we enjoy, right? And the problem with immigrants is like, don't pay their respects. Come in here, like dudes like Abba, by the way, come in. They want to change it around. They want to wear dashikis and shit like that, right? They don't want to assimilate. They don't want to learn the language. They want to bring their culture, everything else like that. Look, nobody's saying not to have your culture, right? Nobody's saying not to, be you. But don't try to come in and replace the original culture with the culture that you fled from. That's the real issue here. You fled from that. Now you're a guest and you're trying to tell the homeowner how the house should be decorated. Like you don't go to someone's house as a guest and they take you in and you say, all right, we're going to switch the drapes up. I don't like this. This isn't cool. We're going to switch the channel, the TV channel over here. This is going to be the new channel that we watch all the time. Let's go ahead and redecorate No, your house was up. There's a reason why you left and you're here now. So respect where you're at. Assimilate. Learn the language. Learn the culture. Respect the culture. Right? But that's considered like, oh, look at you. You're saying that. No, bro, I'm just saying what nobody wants to say because they don't want to get canceled because whites can't have any type of national pride. And this is something that I've talked about for a minute. Like you could be a nationalist all day. You could be a Hispanic nationalist. You could be a proud Mexican. You could say Viva la Raza. You could say Black Power, whatever. But if you go and you say, oh yeah, white, no, get that out of here. Klan, FBI watch list, far right, debank him, get him out of here, etc. When reality speaking, like they should be able to exercise some type of nationalist belief system where they love themselves and love their skin color, love their people, and be able to practice it without impunity. Like, isn't that what this country is founded upon? But we've overcorrected from the civil rights era so much that like it's like, oh yeah, now that stuff is like considered evil. Bro, there's people that are white nationalists that don't hate black people. I know that's crazy for people to understand, but there are white nationalists, and I met a lot of them that love the white race, love their people, etc., but still have friends that don't hate people, that still with us. Like not every person that's a white nationalist is a crazy racist. Now that's what the TV tells you. That's what mainstream media tells you, right? But it's not true. It's not true. I get more love from Hispanics and white people than I do from black. I get more hate from anybody else. They're the most racist to me. Whenever I get like something like you, you're a dumb Arab, you're not one of us, etc. Anytime I get pejorative labels from a race standpoint, 9 out of 10 times, bro. 9 out of 10 times, it's a black person talking to me. And they're supposed to be the least racist. And just so you guys know, I talk to white people too. Hey, you guys are get your line. You guys need to stop being weirdos, etc. Yeah, you're right, dude. Okay, they don't care. They don't care, bro. But if I say something like, "Hey, gotta chill out with the violent crime," oh, you a racist. Like, come on, man. Like I can talk to white people. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a shit because they get shot all the time. So they don't care when I talk about them. So, but yeah, me looking at this shit, like I can see why there's outrage. I can definitely see why there's outrage, bro. Like this is like the Super Bowl, bro. Like, man, y'all gonna do this at like I'll give him this even at the World Series, bro. Even though it's America's pastime, he could have been at the World Series. I would have been like, bro, who cares? Because Hispanics have a huge representation in MLB, right? Huge representation.
That's very true.
Like Dominicanos and Puerto Ricans, like these play baseball. Yeah, like these play baseball like crazy. So like I would have accepted that on for like the World Series, but for the Super Bowl, yeah, we go back and keep watching them. I can see why I'm mad, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
And I'm taking myself and I'm being empathetic to like the average American who's maybe never met a Puerto Rican in their life, bro. Like doesn't even know what reggaeton is.
It's a bit of an exclusionary performance, because not everybody.
Oh yeah, it's super exclusionary.
And that's how people feel on the outside who don't understand.
That's a good point. That this is an exclusion. Yeah, that's actually really this is an exclusionary performance, bro. Like if you're let's keep it 1,000. If you're over 30 years old and you're a white dude, why are you listening to this? You're about what the f is it? Like you're about what the f?
Music only applies to like literally. Oh, actually, not only Hispanics, but like very like younger Hispanics.
Younger people, yeah. Younger people.
Older ones do listen to him as well, but it's
all right. Let me go back to the video. My bad, I didn't have it on the screen. You can keep playing. Yeah, I got it now.
Yeah, typical performance, dancers, singer on stage.
Yo, also the other thing too, bro, is like what this is proving is like Latin music is like yeah, bro, like this is inappropriate for the Super Bowl, bro.
Yeah, this is really inappropriate.
This is inappropriate for Super Bowl, Nick.
All right, so now we're gonna move on to Michael Knowles' point of view about the Super Bowl performance, and then I'm gonna give my performance at the end of this right now, and then we're gonna close out. of course, like I said, this wasn't going to be a long stream. You know, this was only going to be the Super Bowl coverage right now. I haven't been reading up on any other news right now. I've been trying to get on this Epstein coverage right now to make sure everything I'm on point tomorrow for when I could finally cover the Epstein stuff. And then on we might have 2 streams tomorrow, depending on how I feel. Might just be a 1 Epstein coverage. And then Wednesday, for sure, we're going to get back to the regular politics news. We're going to talk about the Iran and U.S. talks that happened in Oman, where Iran and the U.S. were discussing the new nuclear deal, and also about the ballistic missiles program. They want the U.S. is very adamant about no nuclear proliferation and to cease production on more stockpiles of more ballistic missiles, while Iran insists they will not stop proliferation at all, and also they would not stop stop developing more missiles to defend themselves from an impending attack from Israel. And also Bibi Netanyahu is also supposed to make it to the White House, I believe, this week. So I'm gonna get caught up on all that, and then we're gonna cover that on Wednesday. But I hope nothing happens in the next 24 hours to where I gotta change stories and Israel just decides to go ahead and attack Iran. So look forward to the Epstein coverage tomorrow, and then we're gonna talk about the Iran stuff on Wednesday for sure. But anyways, let's go ahead and get Michael Knowles' opinion, and we're gonna close out.
Alternative halftime show, which was terrific. And I wasn't totally sure what to expect. I love TPUSA. I think Erica Kirk is one of the great national heroes. Obviously, Charlie was a buddy of mine, and I love TPUSA, and I do a lot of work with TPUSA. But I didn't know what to expect. It's a big task to say there's going to be an alternative to the Super Bowl halftime show. So I didn't know if they were going to stick the landing. We'll get to how it went, because it's got 26 million views and counting right now. First, though, Bad Bunny. I didn't watch it live. I'm only seeing little clips because you can't watch the whole thing after the fact. But from my understanding, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. From my understanding, a transvestite babbled in a foreign tongue during what is supposed to be America's favorite sporting event. Is that right? And I know some people are going to say, well, he didn't wear a dress to the performance. That's not what I said. He himself is a transvestite, right? He wears dresses to various public events. I guess he dressed in a slightly more masculine way to this performance. Anyway, I'm gathering all of this from just a few clips. Here is how the Bad Bunny halftime show opened up.
Muchas novias, tengo una, mañana otra, pero no hay boda. Titi me preguntó si tengo muchas novias, muchas novias, tengo una, mañana otra.
The fact that this show's already starting off with him this show not being in English is just like, come on, bro. Like, if I'm an average football watcher, I wouldn't even want to watch this either. Like, and this is coming from a guy who doesn't really care about sports or football right now at all, quite frankly. Like, just being an avid watcher of this right now, it's like, bro, what is the NFL thinking with this crap, bro? Literally, what is it thinking? Like, you're getting this Latin culture, this Latin Kings culture music right now, and you put this on like a big stage like the NFL halftime show. Like, what are we doing right now? Your audience is not even majority this. These guys watch soccer. You know, your audience is white, black males we're between both, majority white, that watch football. You know, they're not going to turn in and watch no Latin King perform in like literally in Spanish. So just by looking at this, the first couple of minutes is like, I would literally want to flip the TV too as well if I was watching this. Now again, the music could have been good. But I'm just like, I'm not for it anyways. All right, that should fix it. All right, let's see. All right, that should do now. I don't know why I'm having so many buffering issues. All right.
Los say it, Joe Gosser. No, I shouldn't even say it. Desi Arnaz was a great patriot. He was. I recant. I don't mean to accidentally compare Desi Arnaz or anyone with a Spanish accent to Bad Bunny, who is categorically worse. He goes, God bless America, Argentina, Chile, Ecuador. Oh, we meant America, like the country, but you, even as you say God bless America, are finding a way to diminish this country that has been so good to you, that puts you center stage for its biggest sporting event of the year. Sports, which are intrinsically patriotic. That's what they're supposed to be. That's the point of the sports. One point of sports is to demonstrate athletic prowess, but even more than demonstrating athletic prowess, what the games are for, going back to antiquity all around the world, what public games are for is patriotism. But this guy hates America, so much so that he can't even say God bless America. He's got to undercut America as he does it. Ecuador, and some of those countries I really like. El Salvador, obviously. Had Bukele done the halftime show, I would have loved it. Cuba, the Cuban government is awful. The Cuban people are great, and when they come to America, they vote Republican, and I love them. They love cigars. They're great people. This was just awful. It was at least as bad as we all feared it would be. He didn't wear a dress, but he put some gay stuff in there, so I feel like that just balances out anyway. It was awful. And we all knew it was going to be awful. It was slightly worse, but we all knew it. In fact, walking in to the Super Bowl, Logan Paul, the YouTuber, was asked if he was looking forward to the halftime show. This was his answer.
Logan, are you excited for the halftime? No.
You know something funny? Logan Paul changed that. Logan Paul literally switched that up real quick. So he said he wasn't looking forward to the halftime show or whatever. Then his brother Jake obviously took it to a little bit more extreme. You know, I'm not a big Jake Paul fan, but I could appreciate him for saying with the loud part out loud, you know, Bad Bunny doesn't support, you know, deportation and stuff like illegal immigrants in the country. You know, these illegal immigrants, he doesn't support it. He's pretty much fundamentally not like pro-America. He's not pro keeping the country at a certain demographic as it should be. And Jake Paul, obviously speaking, called Bad Bunny un-American. You know, he's a fake. He obviously was talking a lot of crap about Puerto Rican pride, to saying that it's pretty much what I just said earlier, that Puerto Rican pride is not real, doesn't exist at all. These Puerto Ricans are very prideful about people that are not like honestly not have no sovereign country, you know. And then obviously Logan Paul came in later and like clarified he doesn't agree at all with his brother said and stuff, and like Puerto Ricans are like, he loves Puerto Ricans, of course, you know, like pretty much just giving like the safe for work statements and just trying to like save face and save his own brand, of course, save him and his brother's brand for the most part, because they're brothers. They come together, they come as a pack. And he's trying to sit here and says, I don't agree at all. My brother said, you know, Puerto Ricans are amazing. Puerto Ricans are awesome. You know, I really love Puerto Ricans. So that answer, you know, his answer pretty much switched up quick, because when he said he wasn't looking forward to seeing Bad Bunny's event, and then Jake Paul went out on cameras and said, well, not even on camera, he made a statement and said that Bad Bunny's not American. Puerto Ricans are fundamentally like un-American. They don't support ICE. They're people that sit here and ready to pollute the country with like a bunch of illegal immigrants. Logan Paul pretty much has to just like run and cover and straight up and like appeal to like the Latin communities, you know, to sit up here and just trying to like, you know, die down the death blow that was done by Jake Paul. And I'm just like, come on, Logan, why are you being such a bitch right now, bro? Stand on business, bro. We don't fucking want a Super Bowl where they don't speak English, bro. Nobody wants that crap. Okay? I don't listen to Bad Bunny. I don't fucking like Bad Bunny's music, bro. And you know you damn well you don't want to listen to no fucking song that's not in English. Like, Logan Paul is such a bitch. He cannot even stand on nothing right now. He has to always backpedal. He always has to appeal to a woke audience, because that's just what Logan Paul is. So,
I love it. Couldn't have said it better myself. Are you over to the after show? No. And he was right. Logan Paul, totally right. So what were some of the reactions? Well, there's Logan Paul's pre-action. Elmo reacted, and I think this is how you know the libs realized this was not a good look for them. Elmo, hi. I know that sounded a little bit like Mickey Mouse, but it's all, hi, I'm Elmo. Ah. Like Elmo, like the character on Sesame Street. He reacted to Bad Bunny. Why? At Elmo says, that Bunny was amazing. Elmo thinks he should be called Good Bunny. Elmo loves you, Mr. Good Bunny. First of all, the Elmo songs are really pretty good. Had Elmo just gotten up at the Super Bowl, the halftime show, and done, you know, la 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 Elmo song, that would have been way better than all of that gibberish that Bad Bunny was jiggling around to. But why Elmo has to come out in support of Bad Bunny? Why? Because Sesame Street is super lib, and it airs on public radio or public TV, which is super lib. And I think that the libs realized that they needed a little cultural reinforcement for this. I think the libs looked at the reaction to the Super Bowl halftime show. It got great ratings. A lot of people watched it. It was just like a lot of people would watch a car accident. A lot of people would watch any other manner of degrading behaviors as a circus, as a freak show. They watched it, but it was getting pretty bad reviews. Meanwhile, TPUSA offered an alternative that did bonkers numbers. For an alternative show aired on YouTube and Daily Wire, by the way, it got over 26 million views as of this morning. The numbers keep skyrocketing. 10 million concurrent viewers. So I think what we should conclude from the Elmo reaction is, the libs need to start pulling out all of their cultural cachet, all of their institutional power from Hollywood, from the establishment media, from kids shows on public television to try to make this thing seem better than it was. That to me is a sign of weakness. That's a sign of desperation. Trump characteristically panned it. He said the Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible, one of the worst ever. It makes no sense. It's an affront to the greatness of America. It doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. All true. This isn't even just sour grapes, or I don't like the guy.
Michael Knowles also had a debate on Piers Morgan. I was contemplating should I have reacted to that too, but it's just like I'm already kind of pushed for time, so I'm just gonna cut this short right now a little bit.
He doesn't like me kind of reaction to Bad Bunny. He's making a good point. He says, this doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. It was bad. The sets were kind of impressive, but the babbling, the nonsense, the anti-American politics, the total lack of musical skill and talent, it was sad. It was depressing. He goes on, he says, nobody understands a word this guy's saying. The dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching from throughout the USA and all over the world. This show is just a slap in the face to our country, which is setting new records every single day, including the best stock market and 401ks in history, on and on and on. So true. So true. The point of these events is excellence. Athletic excellence, cultural excellence, that's what they're for. And this was not excellent. I didn't even watch the whole game, or really much of the game at all, but I heard the game wasn't that good. Halftime show was not excellent. It was sad because it failed. The Super Bowl, despite good ratings, failed to do what it's supposed to do, which is demonstrate excellence specifically in service of patriotism and love of country. A big flop. Meanwhile, the TPUSA show, which I didn't know how it was going to go. I thought maybe it was going to be kind of cringe. I didn't know. I love to.
All right, so we're going to now we're going to get my opinion about this. All right, so my honest opinion, I'll assist both. I didn't care for neither one. I didn't care for the TPUSA one. I didn't care for the Bad Bunny performance. I didn't care for neither one. Quite frankly, like I said, it was just the lack of it is a more of he ended his show on we should build a country I forgot what was the messaging. What was his messaging? Lead with love, I believe he said that. I may be paraphrasing what Bad Bunny said, of course. Lead with love, not hate. And it is funny that he used that lingo at the end of his show to sit up here and say lead with love and not hate. Deporting people is not at all hateful at all, because we're not trying to kill people. That's the problem with a liberal mentality. That's the problem with a lot of these rich people, that they live in a false reality, and they're out of touch with the common folk, that people want deportations. So when I listen to Bad Bunny and I listen to him talk about politics, and listen to him his disdain and dislike for ICE and Donald Trump or whatever, and then him just telling the American people, of course, regardless if it was a joke or not at SNL, that you have X amount of months to learn Spanish until my big performance at the Super Bowl event. It is, again, this show from what they were trying to portray it as was trying to be more exclusivity to all cultures of America that sit here, that have been here for years, that are American, whatever, because Puerto Ricans are fundamentally American because of us acquiring the territory of Puerto Rico. So they are fundamentally American, regardless if we may have disdain for them or not, or how un-American some of them may be, especially like Bad Bunny. The problem with this is that, yes, they are very un-American in nature. I mean, and they may be American by a piece of paper and by the requirement of their territory, their passports or whatever. My assessment of the event itself, Bad Bunny's performance and everything else, was just more of celebration of more Latin culture and less really about America. I get it. This was more for the Latins and more trying to draw in more of that audience to the NFL, because they want a wide range audience besides just its usual fan base. But at the same time, it's kind of you are biting yourself in the foot, because many people don't care to want to listen to a Spanish speaking artist who does all of his music in Spanish, when majority of your demographic of audience is just not it's not Spanish, and on average they're not even gonna learn. So And the performance itself, while it may look somewhat entertaining, it's just like it falls flat for me, and it just wasn't doing nothing for me at all, because I don't really care for that genre of music. I don't care for like the Latin Kings type of music, and especially since if I can't understand it, I'm just not going to care for it. But I may be a little contradictory when I say that I do like Asian music a little bit, kind of, especially Japanese, But at the same time, it's like I do have a bias compared to what my non-English speaking music is. Most probably don't share that. Most probably don't share my view of that, and that's fine, completely fine. But when I look at this event as a whole, and I see how this event was portrayed, while on face front, while on paper, it may be said that it's more of like trying to include everyone. It more instead kind of seems like to me it's going to alienate even more. And now when I look at the TPUSA event as their response, it didn't really do nothing for me either, because like, yes, it included like a whole bunch of like country singers, but I mean, I'm not a country music guy. I don't like country music. So I don't know what that would do for me, quite frankly, because I don't even listen to country music. Kid Rock hasn't been relevant in years. I don't know when is the last time he actually even had a song that was in the top 10 100 top 10 of the top 100 Billboard. He managed to beat Bad Bunny on iTunes for the most downloaded song. And one thing I would say was it was more of a patriotic and more of a religious performance from Kid Rock too as well. Because he did declare, love and appreciation and admiration and worship to Jesus Christ at his performance of his halftime show from TPUSA. Compares to just Bad Bunny just, says, God bless God bless America, and then don't lead with hate, lead with love, While that may sounds a little it sounds a little bit soppy and like a gay for the most part, especially from Bad Bunny. The way I look at it right now, it's like both shows just didn't do it for me at all. This wasn't as like woke as most shows that I've seen, because Kendrick Lamar's performance from last year was far more woke than this. They're not like us. They're not like us. What do you think he means? He's talking about Black Americans or whatever. The steadily like repeating victimization of like Black people in America, where they're always constantly crying about slavery, racism, calling for reparations from white people, this, calling for reparations for white people, that, calling for just more handouts, welfare checks, EBT cards, all the usual things right now. Prioritizing stupid crap right now, and like majority of these dudes can barely even read or do basic math. So I would look at more shows over the years before were far more woke compared to this one right now that was done by Bad Bunny. Because this one wasn't as woke, but at the same time, it pretty much, from my opinion, just divided more Americans than it did feel like it was more inclusivity. Like it was trying to include more Americans. So I get what the NFL was trying to do, trying to appease to a wider range of audiences, but like you're hurting your own base right there, but not trying to include your base, and you're trying to alienate your own base. So that's my opinion about that. I didn't really like neither one, and I didn't really care for neither one, quite frankly, because like it's about being like, it should be more about like football is more of like an American sport, and like, look, don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna sit here and say Hispanics of or Latin, Dominicans, whatever. No matter what, you can look at any Spaniard, where you look from being Latin, Latinos, from being Mexicans. When you look for any, it doesn't matter, from like any Spanish speaking race, that they're not patriotic at all to America. They don't care about America at all. Because quite frankly, whenever like you get past like first or second generation, they become very patriotic and very loving to America and always wants to do what's best for the country. Now, first or second generation, like pretty much like for the most part, when they get here, they're not as patriotic. They're not as like, you know, loving to America. They still talk so highly of their country that they fled from to come here, and then they're waving around a flag from a country that they fled instead of staying there and try to fight for the betterment of their country. But they fled from cartel tyranny to come here to America and basically try not to contribute to the country and just want to take advantage of what the country is. So, like I said before, this is not me shit talking all the Spanish people. For the most part, like I said, after a certain generation, they are very patriotic people. But when they come here, firstly, they're not assimilable. They refuse to learn English, and quite frankly, they're drunks, they're drug users, they're creeps. You know, there are people that just sit up here and not like very like hospitable. You know, a lot of them live like 5 or 10 of them live in one singular house together. Very cheap people too as well. And a lot of them take their money, go to Walmart and send a lot of their money back home to whatever Spanish country they're from South or Central America, to try to enrich themselves there, or try to feed their family members that are still stuck in these countries back home. You know, like I said, some of them come here, but they don't really share the love for America like how they should be. They come to America and just, quite frankly, they don't like have love for this country as they should. And they're sitting here just like they just want to reap the benefits that this country offers them, and actually not assimilate and actually not contribute in the right ways. This is the reason why, like, a lot of them just got to get deported, get sent back. That and the fact that they're here illegally. That's the main reason why. There's a lot of them too. You know, that LA riots that happened like last year, where a lot of them were going around destroying public property, raiding with fucking Mexican flags, burning the American flag, spitting on America, saying fuck America, call the regime, you know, a fascist regime. And then they just pretty much just like spit on what America is. And like these ungrateful fucks come here to this country and they talk shit about this country, which they have their right to. They have their right to. There's freedom of speech here. But at the same time, there's a reason why, like, you can make the argument that how much freedom can we really truly allow, because like a lot of this freedom has truly allowed some of this degenerate crap to go on, like the pride parades, you know, the meaningless sex, it's a lot of this stuff has been allowed because we've really pretty much allowed a lot of this. We have a little too much freedom at times. You know, we're encouraging a lot of this stuff to go on. People to come here and just openly just shit talk America while also being in America, and then gloat about it afterwards because they're in America and we really can't do nothing about them because they're here legally. It's the reason why, like back in the day, some of these people would be literally denaturalized and just sit back home. But we don't do that anymore because like people are just afraid of like being called you know, a racist, being called produced terms, being labeled produced terms, to where you can't really do anything about how these people come here and how they treat treat America, and how they come here and also take advantage of like the system that's pretty much set up for them to do so. You know, if we were a serious country, all these people that come here and take advantage of would have been deported a long time ago, as they should be. So that's my opinion about that. So you can let me know in the comment section how you think about that. So we pretty much covered all that tonight. So